This lecture is on net ionic equations. Net ionic equations provide the principal species that lead to the formation of one or more new substances. Classes where net ionic equations are observed include 1. Single replacement reactions, 2. Double replacement reactions in the areas of A. Precipitation, B. Gas formation, and C. Neutralization. This table here shows mostly the soluble ions in water. Any ionic compound that contains Li, Na, K, Rb, Cs, or NH4 plus ions are soluble in water. Any ionic compound that contains NO3 or C2H3O2 minus ions are soluble in water. The one questionable is AgC2H3O2 because some classify it as soluble and others slightly soluble in water. Any ionic compound that contains Cl, Br, or I minus ions are mostly soluble in water unless paired with Ag, Pb2, or Ag22 plus ions, in which it would be deemed insoluble in water. Any ionic compound that contains SO42 minus ions is mostly soluble in water, except if paired with Ca2, SR2, Ba2, or Pb2 plus ions, in which it would be deemed insoluble in water. Hg plus is slightly insoluble in water. This table here shows mostly the insoluble ions in water. Any ionic compound containing the OH or S2 minus ions are mostly insoluble in water unless paired with any of the alkaline metal ions, including Li, Na, K, Cs, or Rb plus ions, along with NH4 plus ion, in which it would be soluble in water. Additionally, if S2 minus is paired with Ca2, SR2, or Ba2 plus ions, the compound is soluble in water. For OH minus, if paired with Ca2, SR2, or Ba2 plus, the compound is deemed slightly soluble in water. Any ionic compound containing Cl3 minus, PO4 minus, CrO4 minus, C2O4 minus, or F minus is insoluble in water unless it is paired with any of the alkaline metals, including Li, Na, K, Cs, or Rb plus ion, along with NH4 plus ion, resulting in a soluble compound in water. Since these group 2A hydroxides are classified as strong electrolytes, the result is that they produce in water the metal cation with a 2 plus charge and 2 OH minus ions. Molecular equation. After getting the word equation along with their states, write the formulas and state of matter per substance and write on the correct side of the chemical equation. If necessary, balance the chemical equation. Total ionic equation. If a substance is aqueous and is a strong electrolyte, break down the compound into their corresponding ions. If the substance is aqueous but is a weak or non-electrolyte, leave the substance as is. A similar case if the substance state of matter is a solid, liquid, or gas. Net ionic equation. After counting out all spectrum ions from the total ionic equation, write out the remaining species that lead to the formation of the new species on the product side. Single replacement reactions have the general reaction element 1 plus compound 1 forms element 2 plus compound 2. Let's look at two examples where writing net ionic equations are commonly noticeable. Example 1 is write out a balanced molecular total ionic and net ionic equation, if applicable, when solid aluminum reacts with hydrochloric acid to produce aqueous aluminum chloride and hydrogen gas. If no reaction occurs, write for the net ionic section, no reaction. Substances are aqueous phase unless otherwise. The molecular equation is 2 solid Al plus 6 HCl forms 2 AlCl3 plus 3 gaseous H2. The total equation is 2 solid Al plus 6 H plus along with 6 Cl minus forms 2 Al3 plus along with 6 Cl minus plus 3 gaseous H2. The net ionic equation is, after removing the spectron of Cl minus, is 2 solid Al plus 6 H plus forms 2 Al3 plus along with 3 gas H2. Example 2 is write out a balanced molecular total ionic and net ionic equation, if applicable, when solid magnesium mixes with aqueous silver nitrate. If no reaction occurs, write for the net ionic section, no reaction. Substances are aqueous phase unless otherwise. The molecular equation is solid Mg along with 2 AgNO3 forms MgNO3 parentheses 2 plus 2 solid Ag. The total equation is solid Mg along with 2 Ag plus along with 2 NO3 minus forms Mg2 plus along with 2 NO3 minus plus 2 solid Ag. The net ion equation is, after removing the spectator ion of NO3 minus, is solid Mg plus 2 Ag plus forming Mg2 plus along with 2 solid Ag. Double displacement reactions have the following general equation. AB plus CD forms CB plus AD. This is also called a metathesis reaction because it involves an exchange in ions between substances. Classes include A, precipitation, B, gas evolution, and C, neutralization. Comments on precipitation reactions. If the substance is a precipitate, write S after the substance. And it remains as a formula unit, and any ionic compound that is soluble in water are dissociated into ions, and write AQ after the substance. Examples: NaClAQ forms Na plus along with Cl minus. COCO3S forms COCO3S. Leave as is. Comments on gas evolution reactions. If you see any of these intermediates, they must be rewritten as two separate substances. A, H2SO3 forms H2O plus SO2. B, H2CO3 forms H2O plus CO2. C, NH4OH forms H2O plus NH3. Water is in liquid phase, and the other substance is a gas. Comments on neutralization reactions. Strong acids are ionized completely into ions. Example, HCl forms H plus plus Cl minus. Strong bases are dissociated completely into ions. Example, NaOH forms Na plus plus OH minus. Weak acids and weak bases are left as molecules, not ions, in aqueous solutions. Example 1 is a precipitation reaction, and it is write out a balanced molecular, total ionic, and net ionic equation, if applicable, when aqueous solutions of aluminum nitrate and barium sulfide mix. If no reaction occurs, write for the net ionic section, no reaction. Substances are aqueous phase unless otherwise. The molecular equation is 2Al NO3 parentheses 3 plus 3 BAS forming solid Al2S3 plus 3 BA NO3 parentheses 2. The total equation is 2Al 3 plus along with 6 NO3 minus plus 3 BA2 plus along with 3 S2 minus forming solid Al2S3 plus 3 BA2 plus along with 6 NO3 minus. The net ion equation is, after removing the spectral ions of NO3 minus and Ba2 plus ions, it is 2Al3 plus along with 3 S2 minus forming Al2S3 solid. Example 2 is a gas evolution reaction, and it is write out a balanced molecular, total ionic, and net ionic equation, if applicable, when aqueous nitric acid reacts with sodium carbonate. If no reaction occurs, write for the net ionic section, no reaction. Substances are aqueous phase unless otherwise. The molecular equation is 2HNO3 plus Na2CO3 forming 2NaNO3 plus liquid H2O plus gaseous CO2. The total ionic equation is 2H plus along with 2NO3 minus plus 2Na plus along with CO3 2 minus forming 2Na plus along with 2NO3 minus plus liquid H2O plus gaseous CO2. The net ion equation is, after removing the spectator ions of Na plus and NO3 minus, it is 2H plus along with CO3 2 minus forming liquid H2O plus gaseous CO2. Example 3 is a neutralization reaction, and it is write out a balanced molecular, total ionic, and net ionic equation, if applicable, when potassium hydroxide reacts with perchloric acid. If no reaction occurs, write for the net ionic section, no reaction. Substances are aqueous phase unless otherwise. The molecular equation is KOH plus HClO4 forms KClO4 plus liquid water, or H2O. The total ionic equation is K plus along with OH minus plus H plus along with ClO4 minus forms K plus along with ClO4 minus along with liquid H2O. The net ion equation is, after removing the spectral ions of K plus and ClO4 minus, is H plus along with OH minus forming liquid H2O. Here is a review exercise for you to work on. Write out a balanced molecular, total ionic, and net ionic equation, if applicable, for the following word reactions. Provide states of matter per substance. If no reaction occurs, write for the net ionic section, no reaction. A, aqueous solutions of potassium hydroxide and phosphoric acid produces an aqueous salt and liquid water. Note, phosphoric acid is a weak acid. B, aqueous solutions of ammonium acetate and aluminum chloride results in the formation of two aqueous compounds. For the remaining part of this lecture are solutions to review exercises or problems. Please view only after completing these exercises.